Well, I think I was a little bit in shock, but my aunt has breast cancer and she was diagnosed at 28. So although it's not the same type of breast cancer, she has general breast cancer. So I wasn't completely in shock. I mean, I guess I kind of had a feeling at some point it could be me. I was prepared in a way because I've known breast cancer my whole life because of her. So I kind of felt like, oh, it's, breast cancer, like diabetes or any other illness that we live with, for the rest of our life. So I was shocked, but at the same time kind of like, well, my aunt has breast cancer, so why not me?
33.
I think when she told me, she confirmed it because she gave me a clinical diagnosis before the biopsy came back. And when we went in and she told us that it was cancer, I was just kind of like, okay, well, what are the next steps? Like, what do we do now? And, she quickly got me to a CT scan and we found that it was in my liver. And I don't know, it's almost like, I guess like an out of body experience. Like there's just so much going on and it's just, you have to kind of remove yourself a little bit from it. It was weeks before I finally was like, oh my gosh, like I could die, It was weeks before. I was just going and going like, what's next? Let's do tests. Let's do whatever we had to do, to get on a treatment plan. So I have 4 little ones. I have 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 6-year-old. So we are incredibly busy. Yes, super busy. I'm being treated at MD Anderson because they have a specialty clinic there for inflammatory breast cancer. So I go up there a lot. Thankfully, I'm blessed in that I have my mom and my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law to help me, because without them, I don't know how I would do half the things I do because I'm away from home a lot. Oh my goodness. So ThriveWell is helping me get to Houston. So they pay for my gas and they also pay for my hotel stays. And in addition to that, they also connected me with another organization that's giving my children counseling services. I know, it's been great. Huge blessing.
Let me ask you. I don't want to be your little one.
So every day I wake up and I pray that I can see my grandbabies. Like it's not enough for me to just see them graduate from high school and I feel so selfish because most people I know just want to see their kids graduate from high school. But for me, it's not enough. I want more. I want to be able to meet all my grandbabies. That's like my every day I pray that, Lord Jesus, please let me just meet my grandbabies. And then I kind of like laugh because I know that's a lot to ask, with stage 4. But I'm hopeful. I really am. And every day I try and just be present and play with them as much as I can and just create memories. And I find myself thinking of things like, maybe writing emails to them, like setting up an email account and writing emails to them. But then I start feeling like that's too final and I don't want to start thinking about like it being final or me not being here, because I'm afraid that if I let my mind go there, then my body will go there too. So it's always like this fine balance of wanting to be prepared in a sense, but not too prepared. And then my body starts to just kind of give up in a sense.
Yeah.
So I just completed 5 months of chemotherapy and I actually had scans last week. And according to my scans, they're clear. The cancer responded beautifully to the chemotherapy. So I will have surgery in 2 weeks. I'm going to have a complete non-skin sparing mastectomy. And as far as staying positive, I guess I pray a lot and I have a lot of really awesome people around me and positive people. And I guess I know enough about cancer that I know that if I get to a place that's final, or if I start to give up or start to lose hope, I've seen what happens to people who do that, and I know that that's not where I want to go. They know everything. They do. They can tell you everything. They know that I have stage 4 cancer. They know that it was in my liver, but that it's not anymore because the scans came back. But they know that because it was in my liver, that does mean that I do have to stay on some form of treatment for the rest of their lives. My 5-year-old often prays, Jesus, please just let the cancer stay away from mommy's body for all of her life, she says. But they know. I think being very open and honest with them helps them. We are living with my mom right now, and we might be selling our house here in the next few months. Because I'm not able to work anymore, and my husband's the only one working, and our house needs some work, but we just can't afford to do that right now. So my doctors have been very optimistic. They've never given me any sign of negative talk or any sign that for me not to have hope. They've been so hopeful this whole time. And so they tell me that, you know, I'm not curable, but they foresee me doing really well with treatment, and that I've done really well with treatment. And because I'm HER2 positive, that there's a lot of, you know, new drugs coming out all the time. And so, you know, when one drug stops working, we'll just try another one. And if that doesn't work, then we'll just try another one. So
you respond well.
Thankfully, yes. Thankfully, there's lots of options for me at this point. So before I started treatment, I decided that I would cut my hair. So my hair was down to here. I had big, long, curly hair. And I told my husband, you know what? I think I want to cut my hair before it starts falling out, because I've read it's so traumatic once it starts falling out. And so he said, okay, you know, we'll go, how do you want to do it? I said, I want to go to the barber with the kids and kind of include everybody. So that's what we did. We went to the barber, and he shaved my head, and we put these cute little designs. We put faith over fear on the back of my head, and I went into treatment just like that with a buzz cut head. And so when my hair ultimately did start falling out, it wasn't too traumatic because it was so short already. And I've embraced it. I've never worn a wig. I wear head coverings when it's cold outside or for the kids, because I know that they have told their therapist that in the beginning, well, my 11-year-old was kind of embarrassed, you know, that I was bald. And so I wear head coverings for her. But when they're at school, I go to H-E-B or wherever I need to go, and I don't wear head coverings. I don't mind it at all. Now the eyebrow thing, that's weird for me because I always had really thick, bushy eyebrows. So I never had to learn how to like pencil them in. So that has been, so they're penciled in, guys, forgive me, they're not the greatest, but I do what I can. Because that is one thing that I do like to have eyebrows, so. But no, it's not that big of a deal for me. That for me, but I keep telling myself, I've had 4 pregnancies. I was able to nurse 4 babies until they were 2. Like, my breasts have served their purpose, and I don't need them anymore. At least that's what I keep telling myself. That's huge. I mean, I would not be able to receive treatment, you know, if it wasn't for, I wouldn't be able to receive treatment there. I wouldn't be able to visit the specialty team there. And there's 3 in the whole nation. And we're so blessed that we have MD Anderson up the road. But yeah, it's a financial struggle to get there. And so if I, even like you said, $20, hey, that gets me, literally gets me to Houston. And so without it, I wouldn't be able to receive treatment at MD Anderson, where they're the only doctors that specialize in IBC. So I think it's huge. I think it's life and death. It would have been life and death for me, without a doubt.
To meet you.
Right. So if I could talk to them, I would just tell them, you know, thank you for giving me however much time I may have left with my children. Thank you. Whether it's a month or 6 months or a year, you gave me time to see them grow. And I'm eternally grateful for that. You know, I hope that if they learn anything, it's, you know, just to be persistent in life and never give up. And, you know, one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is when people die of cancer, you know, everyone's so quick to say, oh, you know, they lost their battle with cancer. But I don't agree with that. I think that you choose, you decide, you get to decide that you're done and you're ready to be with whatever maker that you believe in. And I think that's important for us to, you know, focus on, for people who do decide that they're tired and they're done, they've won the greatest battle that there is, and it's to be home with their creator, whoever that may be. Well, I'm in Houston, so on a chemo day, I don't eat anything because I will get sick if I do. So I fast regardless of what time my chemotherapy is. Sometimes it's at 1:30, sometimes it's at 4, 6 in the evening. No matter what, I don't eat. And then after chemo, I come straight home. So as soon as my chemo is done, we hit the road back to San Antonio. Regardless of what time it is, I come home. So before my kids went to school, I would FaceTime with them. It would really get my mind off of, the medicine, particularly this last infusion of AC, these last 4 infusions. That medicine made me so sick that I would have to just really distract myself when it was going in. Just arriving there, leaving San Antonio on my way to get AC would make me sick to my stomach. I would get sick, I would start crying because I didn't want to do it, but I knew that I had to. So that was rough. When you eat something that's bad, like if you get food poisoning and that food, the smell of the food, the thought of the food just makes you sick, that's exactly how it was. Just the thought, seeing red drinks would make me sick, and it physically would make me sick because I would get nauseous. The next day I was nauseous. I couldn't eat or drink anything. We kept battling with I had to go to the ER because I was not hydrated enough, but it's so hard to drink anything when you're so nauseous. And they would give you so many anti-nausea medicines, which are great because you don't throw up, but it doesn't take the nausea away. So it's like you're consistently sick for 3 days. And so I'm not eating for 3 or 4 days. And then when I finally start eating again, you can't really eat that much after not eating for so many days. And I would have maybe 2 or 3 good days at the most, and then I was due for another infusion. And that was just with this particular chemotherapy.
Anything else that I haven't?
People don't realize either is that a cancer diagnosis is hard, but a cancer diagnosis during COVID is, I don't even know, I have been to every single appointment alone. I have been to every surgery, every treatment by myself. There's no one sitting in a chair next to me. There's no one helping me to process the information that I'm receiving at that time. I've been alone. And so I think that's something that's super important for people to realize is not only is this a physical thing or a mental thing like before, but it's even harder because we're isolated from a lot of our family. I haven't seen a lot of my family because I'm afraid I'll get sick. And so we're isolated. I can't do the things that I would normally do, try and keep myself busy by going and doing, go to the mall with my kids or go to the park or do these things. I can't do those things, So I think that's also something that is super important for people to realize is, we're really struggling, those of us who are battling cancer, not just because we're battling cancer, but we're battling cancer during COVID.